Okay, yeah, this would be a good time for a pause. So how you doing, universe? I know that's, given the state of my current morning, probably a question that does not need an answer. But let's just say that I finally got around to doing that major project that is switching all three rooms to be the other rooms. In other words, I am doing a massive reorganization of the house because it's long overdue and something that I was so frustrated about not getting done that I fucking quit my job. So I might as well get it done, right? Pause. Okay, so yeah, well, I am getting her done. Finally. 25th of April, right? At what, 10:40 in the morning? But I have been up working since before dawn, so I have gotten a lot done. But there's still 10 times more to do, so it feels like a good start that could easily peter out because, let's face it, I'm involved. So instead of letting that happen, as I'm starting to lose a little energy, I thought, well, recording of the cast variety that is not a podcast. Pause. All right, unpause. Yeah. So I went to look for a list. Shit, man. All right. We're gonna have to go without this list. We'll save that list for another time. But in overhauling the house, one of the things I'm finding are all of my old recording notes. My initial, even 6 months of conceiving how I might even introduce all this stuff. Notes. A lot of notes. Too many notes. Because I never throw anything out. At least anything that is related to anything that I care about. So, yeah, I got a lot of shit that I don't need. But it all has sentimental value, so... Sentimental value? Did I say that, or did I say something else? Okay. And finding some stuff that's actually worth revisiting. But not right now. Because today, I was going to try to work through one thing I know I'm right about. And you can admit this or you can be in denial, but I'm right. And that is that things are not getting better. Why? That seems odd. There are a lot of us putting effort into doing what we can to be productive throughout the day. And instead of the whole world getting better as a result of all this effort, everything seems to just either be barely holding on or getting worse. So, that is what I want to talk about. I came up with 9 reasons, potentially, that this could be the case. So, pause for a second. Okay. So, the other thing I was going to talk about is why I'm doing this at all. Or what's the point? And obviously, part of the point is that I do feel like a large part of this world as it exists is my fault. Or at least activities. Hey, phone disaster. Been a while for one of those to happen. Shit, where'd the phone end up? Okay, back on point. The idea that it's all my fault just speaks to how little I've been here to do anything about the world we live in other than celebrate the spoils of victory that I thought had basically been here to be had after things like the civil rights movement and the internet and other ways that the world got great. All of a sudden, it seemed like, well, at some point, things just weren't great. It was clear that innovation was being stifled. Corporations were swallowing up resources. we were perpetually at war for no reason. There were just so many things that felt wrong that I guess when 9/11 hit, the realization that America was problematic on the world scene was all that I took out of it initially. It took another 6 or 7 years to finally come around to the idea that the world scene was completely other than I had been taught. So, with these realizations came a whole lot of other realizations and, frankly, a whole bunch of mystical shit. And I'm not going to get into all that, but I do get into it because it's mystical shit. And I'm not a mystical person. So the idea that mystical shit hangs out there and my life is evidence of mystical experience is still weird to me. But you have to live the life you have, right? So I do this because I didn't connect with myself for the longest time. And now that I do, I see a whole world full of people not connecting completely with themselves. Which is not to say you should rush this. I learned a lot of lessons in my disconnected, discombobulated, disoriented self. But I do feel like at 53 I'm a little late to the game of getting my shit together. So there is that. But I also know that it took me 40 years to really get my shit together. So there is that. And if you're on that journey, well then, you're on that journey. What can you do about it? Well, you can try to rush it. You can try to circumnavigate some other directive that will get you to a part of your destiny that you just want to rush to get to. Well, that just never works. In fact, that backfires, and I'm sure leads to longer journeys than are necessary. I don't know that my journey had to be this long, but I know I appreciate everything that happened to create the circumstance that I'm in right now. And this circumstance is fantastic. I love my life. I just love life. I love myself within all of what I get to do, even when it's rearranged my house in a capacity that I can see pillows on my dining room table. My washing machine is sitting in the dining room. I mean, it's just, but it'll all be fixed soon enough, right? So, I do this because I realize that one of the things my journey was primarily was alone. And I don't know that I could have reached some of the personal reckoning moments I did without it being a journey of solo engagement, but I know it didn't have to be at all times something that I didn't have a voice of at least, I don't know. If there's a time when you have a fear of feeling like you have purpose, you have destiny, you have any organized part to play in the grand scheme of humanity trying to ascend to its greater levels. Well, you do. We all do. And it's amazing that that is something we can question so easily when you finally realize how simple it is to see your own part in the game, your own realization. When you look within and figure out exactly who you are and how this role plays out for you, it all just seems like such malarkey that you were going through all that. Because it's all trying to fit yourself into the grand scheme of pseudo-signals coming from outside of you. That's nonsense in the greatest degree. Every time you achieve any part of that periphery, it just reflects back in a way that wasn't you. So look inside yourself and figure out what it is that you're here to do, mostly. What makes you get up in the day and think, that's what I want to do today. For me, it's go help people, be kind, understanding, and forgiving along the way. That's it. That's how simple my life is. I do those things. I have great days every day. And I know that sounds hokey, But I'll explain more of how this is all unfolding so that this doesn't sound like all I do is go out on a street corner and offer people my help. Although I do that. So, there are days when that's all I got. But every day that I'm helpful to somebody in need is a day I sleep well, regardless of what I get done personally. None of that matters. As long as I can be giving in a circumstance in which I'm truly able to give someone effort that they needed at that moment. It's as fulfilled as my life gets. So, creating those moments isn't easy. But finding ways to be fulfilled in other ways, I've also come up with. So, that's me. What are you? I'm not sure. But the reason I go through all this is so that you can see what I'm up to try to refocus my life, now that I know what my life's destiny is, with purpose and intent, and bringing the right people along the way. A couple of whom are sticks in the mud right now. Trying to get in touch with them is not easy, but carry on with my bad self I will. All right. So, some things you got to put up with if you're going to listen to me. You got to know I'm foul-mouthed, for sure. I can't hold that back, so I don't even try anymore. I'm a crybaby. I definitely have a faucet that turns itself on at the most unexpected times, as well as at the expected times, so both. I'm Mandela, however you want to look at the Mandela effect. I suffer all of that shit, and it certainly has still upended my concept of reality. What else can it do? I'm a recovering compulsive liar, and find that the hardest part of myself to realize now as who I used to be. But there's no question now that I don't have incentive to lie. It's hard to understand a person who used every incentive out there to create motivation to lie, which is who I was. So now I have no inhibitions. I talk about anything, except things that are personally compromising to other people. That seems inappropriate. So, but things that would personally compromise my cat or my dog, I will talk about that all day long, like my cat's scabby wound, which keeps healing. It's gotten way better. So, who knows? I mean, that cat was dead 2 months ago by the hand of me. If I'd have gotten a ride to the shelter, I'd have put her down. But nope. So instead, I just smoke weed and try not to think about it. So I smoke a lot of dope. But that's it. And I took a month off. Well, I'm going to take another month off. I'm going to take May off just to do it. I think it's good for my overall physical health. And since I'm trying to get in shape, what the hell? Another month off. Why not? I have come to know over the last 10 years something I didn't know for the last 43 behind it, that I have in fact an eternal soul, and that I am currently sitting in this meat suit as part of my eternal soul, experiencing what I'm experiencing here. And yeah, that's weird. Still. Definitely. But it's true. And I've run into a couple of soulmates while I'm here. That's also weird. In fact, I'm running into one as I speak. There's one in my orbit now. That's the first one since 2003, so it's been a while. Okay, everything that I do here is about me. It's just my recordings for me to look back on in the future and think, well, what the fuck was I thinking back then? And this is what I look back on and say, oh yeah, that's what I was thinking. So if you're listening to this, well, it's just my personal mind droppings. It has nothing to do with anything other than just what I'm thinking. What I'm thinking could be anything. And today, what I'm thinking is, why aren't things getting better? Well, I came up with 9 reasons, and I'm not going to say these are actually in any kind of consequential order, but I did put them in some sort of hierarchy, thinking at least that the number 1 should be the number 1. So, with that in mind, I'm going to find my list. Hold on, pause. All right, unpause. Okay. Well, actually nine. Number nine. Counting backward. Our ninth reason for why things aren't getting better would be, what the fuck you talking about? Shit's getting better everywhere you look. Seriously, bro, what you talking about? Hang on. This, I must pause. Okay. So, if that's where you're at, that shit's getting better all over the place. I mean, our phones keep getting smaller and then bigger and then smaller again and then thinner. I don't know, right? Doesn't even matter. Phone's a phone, right? But the point is, infrastructure's failing. Our government policies are failing. There is no money for anything other than the machinations of war. Our treasury is being looted, both abroad and from within. And really, does it matter? Ultimately, yes, I suppose. But the problems are systemic. They're everywhere. Which is why I say, instead of putting our head in the sand and saying, what the fuck are you talking about, bro? Things are getting better everywhere. Say, no, things are worse probably wherever you look. And so let's come clean and decide that now is the time to forgive everybody for whatever they've done. Clean it all off, move forward so we can be productive and do something with the time that we do have. Because how are we going to fix shit that's already been broken? Well, not by going back and crying about it. So what the fuck are you talking about? Shit's getting better all over the place. Okay, you should stop now. If you think that's a counter argument of validity, there's a reason it's ninth. Because it needs to be noted for the stupidity that it is. Now, I'm speaking strictly from a white middle-class American point of view. I do not want to speak from the point of view of someone from, say, Reykjavik or Amsterdam or Oslo. Nope, those people might be a lot happier and fucking, what the fuck are you talking about? Shit's getting better everywhere. Okay, maybe in your world that's true, but not in white middle-class America or any other America. At least the United States of America. All right, number 8. Our only economic driver is war. And war doesn't make shit better. Yeah. What else we got going? War and what? Finance shenanigans that end up bailed out for trillions of dollars, so money becomes pointless. But war, baby. We definitely got people in Washington ready to rubber stamp the next goddamn tank or airplane or missile. So maybe that's why things aren't getting better. Number 7. Because of me. Yeah. I mean, it is kind of my thing that it's all my fault. It is my fault. Had I been more vigilant that this wasn't just a chaotic occurrence of non-consequence that I was participating in for the absurd purpose of what? Somebody else's black humor file? Who knows? But when that all turned out to be wrong, well, fuck yeah, I feel bad. I didn't know. I was hornswaggled. Wait, boondoggled. I was hoodwinked. I was a sucker. I was a mark. I was easily told I was exceptional, that I was here for the celebration, and that all I needed to do was follow these guidelines and I would walk my way into a harmonious existence. Which all turned out not to be true for me. But I'm trying to make up for that. I'm definitely devoting my life now for whatever I can do to make things better for everybody else. And on the way, at least expose as much as I can that no matter where you think you've gotten, well, there's still time to figure it out and become the person you should have been when you got here. I don't care how you've played planet Earth, you can still play it the way you were meant to. And that is what I'm here doing. So, yeah, okay. Why aren't things getting better? Because I made things such a shit pile that now there's a huge amount to fix. Well, I can say that, but I'm not the only one who can say that. So, as we get to that shit pile to fix, just remember, fixing it is what's important. Number 6. Well, I put Tom Brady here because I feel like he could be the reason things aren't getting better. Because it seems like Tom Brady has led the perfect life. So if anybody has sold out the entire planet Earth to negative consequence, it could be Tom Brady. So number 6, reason things aren't getting better, Tom Brady. Number 5, our leaders are sucked into a fetid vortex of self-preservation that leaves nothing but us versus them in the long run. Well, this one is true. This one sucks. We really do have to overhaul the entire legislative system. And to me, it's as simple as getting money out of politics. And it's even simpler by just going to lottery representation for government positions. But no, I'm not the only one out there thinking those thoughts, but I'm one of like 7 out of 350 million. So it's a small crowd. But there's more than one of us, so there's that. But still, our leaders, what exists now, it's just a self-perpetuating machine. They get there, they're sucked in, or they're plucked out. It's one or the other. So either play ball or get the fuck out. It's the ultimate play ball or get the fuck out. And once you play ball, you play ball. You're in. You do not get the fuck out. You're done. You are in for good. It's a fucking mafia. But whatever. So yeah, that could be why, right? Totally. All right, next is number 4. Well, the dollar is crashing. It's not just crashing, it's collapsing. And as all fiat currency is destined to inevitably perform as its final, there is no getting around having a faith-based monetary system inevitably will run out of faith. Because those who pull the levers that control that system can't help but take the advantages there to be had by lever controlling in their favor, and thus things like inflation and monetary supply and crashing of markets and whatever other vulnerabilities you can drill into the capitalist society as we run it here in America, well, the dollar is the one ultimately suffering now the consequence. Because you cannot run a debt spiral as we have done. You cannot run a Federal Reserve of interest to a private group of individuals without it turning into the sort of hyperinflation we're about to suffer. So, really, why make things better in the face of what is only inevitably going to get worse? There's only one way to help people with the sticker shock they experience when they come in and see the prices today compared to what they were 9 months ago, 19 months ago, 2 years ago. It doesn't matter. You just tell them, well, yeah, that's crazy, I know. But it'll be more expensive next month. So buy it now. And you're not exaggerating. That's true. That is absolutely what's happening. Prices are going up monthly. Whatever you think you see now as the price, you can't come back 6 weeks from now and expect to pay that. You can only expect to pay more. So, if that's not the definition of hyperinflation, well, I don't know what is. So, yeah, the dollar is collapsing. That could be why things aren't getting better. Could be that 3, that the liars are finally being exposed. So they are pulling their last defense/offense maneuvers to eject themselves from the scene without being caught, or whatever else they're up to. What do the supervillains do when James Bond collapses the hideaway and says, "Hands up, or else I'll shoot you with my license to kill"? I don't know. What happens then? They like parachute off in some rocket to the moon, right? Well, no, this time they're going to go to Mars or something. But when the biggest shenanigans finally unravel, and they're unraveling in real time, well, the people who had their, what do they call that? I wish I had my head. But whatever kind of package you can leave behind so that nobody will touch you, well, those don't exist for the people who have done the worst shit. Instead, what they have are the maneuvers that will cover up all of the misdeeds that they've done in whatever capacity they think they can to totally get away with it, including starting nuclear war. I mean, let's be honest. So with all those last stops being thrown out on the table like a bad poker game, well, do we really ever want to see them turn over their cards? Unfortunately, I think we're being forced to, so there's that. Those that are at the highest level of scheming are about to be undone. So maybe that's why things aren't getting better. Okay, number 2, there's the solar event, or the magnetic flip, or whatever the fuck is coming, that is a complete catastrophe of upheaval across the entire planet. And there are some people who are in on that and know about it, and that could be why things aren't getting better. But let's just scrap all those ideas. Because to me, the reason things aren't getting better, the number one, oh my God, that's so totally why. Because all of us are failing to make it better. I mean, seriously. It is what it is. We can either continue to complain about it, look around and expect other people to start fixing it, assess that it's hopeless, so why even do anything about it? Or we can get the fuck to business of fixing it. So part of why I'm doing this is because it makes me feel like the connections I'm making here are connecting in a way that fixing it is the goal. I don't know how we're going to fix it, but I keep throwing shit at the wall just to see if anything sticks. And when it does, I keep pushing something to see if I can make something happen. And then I go out and try to help people, and then I'm kind, I'm understanding, and I'm forgiving. And I tend to have a pretty good impact on my surroundings by doing that. So that's what I'm doing. But if we don't think about how we should be making it different, it's just gonna stay the same. So here on episode 45 of I Could Be Right, well, I am right. Things are not getting better. But I'm also right that the step toward making it all work out for all of us is to just act in your area in a way to make things better in your life. Do that and keep pushing other people to do the same, and pretty soon, well, this whole ship will turn around. Well, that dollar collapsing thing is real, so there's some pain coming, but at the most, if we're not somehow united to try to attack these problems now, then, I mean, what remnants of us will be left? The people shouting, "What the fuck are you talking about? Shit's getting better all over the place." Okay, buddy, whatever.